Culture consciousness and movement building MILPA. Cultivated change makers, yeah, we're that squad.
I feel like I don't sleep. I need more sleep because like
all of us.
Yeah, right? And then like so my downtime is like late at night. That's when I'm like checking emails and things too and trying to get stuff like just caught up because when I'm in the office on Thursdays, it's good because I'm happy to be here and like connecting with everybody and like helping out Jen. I really want to like support Jen because she's like the intern and stuff and grow her. But then I totally ignore my emails on Thursday. So then when I go home, like, oh shit, what's all these emails? I don't want to have like 50, 60 emails of unread.
You know, paran, dude. They just
I
keep
know. They're like one point I was at 250.
Gotta sleep, everybody. Jesus.
I know. I remember there was a point when on the emails and everything. I was still at that time. I was still taking my classes at Monterey, and I would always know who to hit up at like 2 a.m. It was always like Ronnie, Cesar, Juan that like right away would answer my emails, right? And it was just like when I would see them and stuff, and it was just like balancing all that.
Yeah.
But I feel like you do the same thing because you have a hell of stuff on your plate.
Yeah, I know like who would answer like you said, and like who like to like know this is their time to like just unwind and stuff. I don't want to bother. I don't want to bother them. But yeah, no, the morning routine's it's doable, but sometimes I'm just like. It's just so much. It's 3 kid drop-offs, and like I live all the way in Monterey on the Peninsula, closer to like Monterey High School, and like really in there off the freeway. Mm-hmm. So my son, he goes to school at D-Lamp, which is Fort Ord, and making that commute from in the morning to take him. Unfortunately, it has to be like the middle drop-off. It'd be nice to be the last drop-off because most of the time I would just head to the office or go do something else. Mm-hmm. But I always have to come back and go with all the traffic that goes into Monterey to pick up my youngest and take her to her school site. So just 3 school drop-offs takes me at least an hour in the morning. And I'm like, in traffic, I'll like play my Apple CarPlay that like reads your texts and stuff to you. So helpful. Oh my gosh, thank you for that.
So you hear everybody's freaking text coming in and stuff.
Yeah. And I can just hear and respond to it. Half the time in the car, it's like, wait, it says something I didn't say. I'm like, no, don't say that. That's not what I said. And I have to replay it. But it's good sweet.
How is it with Ailani graduating?
Oh my gosh, I can't even think about her. Seeing her like as it's easy to see her as a woman, to be honest, because she's really responsible and stuff. But the reality that my daughter is going into that womanhood makes me all like emotional and sad and thinking about like she was just like so little not too long ago. And it really flies by fast, and we're at a good space now. I think a couple weeks ago we were like hella like just button heads and like not really getting along. I think we're kind of coming out of that, but a lot of it because we had some good plática and talking about like where she was coming from, where I was coming from. But she's doing good now, and we're giving that boy a chance.
Yeah.
And I know that text was popping when you said that they chose her first date.
Yeah, when you guys check out
all the uncles were coming out, feeling some type of way.
Yeah. That was awesome to know that too, because they have not met her either. Mm-hmm. So to know that like we're like that deep in our group here and our team that we care for each other like that, it's just a safe space. So I love that.
Yeah. Well, it's cool. It's cool because I've seen how you like interact with her. When you brought her into the office. And she's obviously a dope little person, so it's cool to see, like, even, like, the very first time she came into office, and she was, like, oh, shy. She reminds me a lot of Ronnie, where it's, like, at first they're all shy, but then, like, once they open up, like, she was just, like, she's a big bubble, and so now, like, me and Jen randomly hit her up, like, what do you do, So,
I love that.
She's only, like, what, 5 years younger than I am?
Yeah.
About? Yeah. So it's, like, it's that middle ground where it's just, like, I still get Ronnie, but I still, like, get Alani, so it's, like,
Oh, it's crazy. She wanted to learn how to crochet, so I brought her the stuff to crochet, and then she came out of her room that night and made a teddy bear and a little T-Rex. Like, how do you learn these things so quickly? Like, she's just,
It's that 18-year-old blood, dude.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She's young.
Do you see yourself in her?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of things. I think a lot of it with the, like, I have to, I guess it's a good thing. I don't want to say it's a bad thing. That's a good thing, being like super driven and wanting to make sure to do as much as you can, but then she can burn out easily. But she also has like a lot of her dad in her too. The way she runs, which I think is hilarious, like she's like this like dinosaur or like, I don't know what it is, or a giraffe. But we always make fun about how she runs. And she runs just like her dad, which is really funny. But yeah.
Does she also play sports?
Yeah, she plays soccer. She did that her whole life. I coached her little team when they were younger. So that was really nice. And then when I was coaching high school, she was so younger, but she'd come and like play with the girls and stuff too. I really loved her. But just soccer. Soccer is fun because like I grew up playing soccer. So yeah.
Who got you in soccer?
Who got me into soccer? Oh shoot,
Is it like a family thing?
No, it's not. That's what's crazy about it. My family is like very ranchero and stuff like that. So they didn't do a lot of, when I think of my dad, he did baseball when he was younger, but he's like just ranch life, American rodeo along with charreadas and all that stuff too. And I had an older sister who was into all of that as well. But for some reason, me and my twin sister didn't get into it. And I was like, now regretting it. Like, how badass would it have been to like rope a goat, jump off a horse at the same time, tie it up in like less than like 10 seconds. Like, that would have been badass. My sister did that. Like, my older brother, like, steer wrestled and like grabbed the cow by the horns and flipped it. All that kind of shit, you know?
What?
Yeah, bull riding, all of it. Why did I do that? I did sheep riding once. I rode a sheep when I was like...
Wait, what?
Yeah, you know when you're like little and you're like... I don't know if you guys been to the Slimmest Rodeo, or if you guys been to any rodeos, but they have this event usually for little kids. So like, probably like 6, maybe 5 and up,
Yeah.
you can do it. And like, they put you on sheep that are like, have all the rules and stuff. So like, hang on, they give you like a little vest. I had like a pink helmet. Like, I was all mad because like, I didn't hang on long enough and I fell off. And my mom said that I ran up to my dad and I was mad at him. Like, you didn't tie my strap on tight enough so I can run all the way out for everybody to see me. And I mean, there was that moment, but...
That's cute.
Yeah.
Imagine,
That's
bro,
so cute.
Like right now, Ronnie being an adult, like freaking out. We're like
Playing the car with the sheep. Hey, Daniel, go move my sheep.
I know, right?
That'd be freaking. That's how you
Dude,
get
I
everything.
live off my calendar.
Yeah,
Where's my
me too.
phone? Like, if I showed
Me
you, it would be
too.
like, it's so funny. People are like, what are you doing next week? I'm at the gym or something. I'm talking to a friend. I
Oh
pull
my
it up.
God.
And they look at my calendar. They're like, oh my God, how do you do that? Like, they get all like, I'm stressed for you, Ronnie. I'm like, yeah.
Hey, they were hella making fun of me at the retreat. Like, I was like, you know, freaking, you put everything. And like, yeah, dude, I put everything or else I'll forget.
Yeah.
So.
No,
Yeah.
seriously, I have to put everything. Yeah.
And the thing is that I don't want to deal with multiple calendars, so I put even like my personal stuff, like facial or like workout or whatever it is. It's like
I have
everything's on
4
my
calendars.
Oh.
So I try to put everything on MILPA or I block out like busy, but then like, so I started off being busy and I kind of just kept it like that. But I realized like it's cool, at least our work allows us to say why we're busy. Like if I'm busy for lunch to like get my nails done, no one's gonna hate or get mad, you know, things like that. I have like a standing meeting with our superintendent like every one Friday a month. And I had that blocked out as busy. I'm like, I can change this to say like me with the superintendent. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have 4 calendars. Nails by Marilyn, we gotta like tag her or something. Like she's amazing. She works out of her home, but she just learned on her own and did what she needed to do to be able to do this professionally. So I'm so proud of her. Yeah.
I know. I think with that, you know, we've been able to cover a little bit of like you as a mom, you a little bit as a board member, but you as in your own personal life.
Yeah.
But who is Ronnie? Like, who is Veronica Miramontes?
That's a great question. No, definitely like what you said. I know, like, here it goes. No. For me, like, I think of those things like a wife, a mother, the position I'm here in at MILPA, like being on a school board, elected official, and coaching, those type of things too. But like, when I say those things and then I look at myself in the mirror in a kind of way, it's like, I'm just a regular person. That's who I am. I'm just like a regular person. And my goal, like, honestly in life isn't to like climb this political ladder or have this badass title. And honestly, not even to have like all this money. Like, so many people are so focused on trying to get money. I just want to be a good friend and like a caring person. Like, I want people to like just like me and me to like them and find ways to like just communicate, you know? Like, communication is huge for me. But I think about that, like, I want to be like a really good person. How can Ronnie be a good person? And it's, for me, I think it's so easy because I have like this huge empathic heart. Like, people always call me an empath. Like, I've done like these tests you have to do for your personality. But like, always like my number one thing.
Myers-Briggs.
Yeah. all the time.
Yes,
in there.
whatever.
Sometimes to a fault though, that could kind of be a bad thing. You have to be strong too in other ways. But yeah, 3 kids from ages, Mila just turned 4, but 4 to Irlani's about to turn 18.
Mm-hmm.
So being like a mom for like 18 years is crazy. A lot of people are like, damn, how old are you? And things like that. I'm like, well, I was a teen mom. I had her at a really young age in life. I had to like go to South Lake Tahoe, Nevada to get married because you couldn't do it in the state of California. And it was all those were like planned and things I wanted at that time too, which is also really crazy. But it wasn't even, that was not how it went down, at least for Ilani's coming into life and stuff. It was actually a decision that we made and all those things, but looking back at it now, obviously we're way too young and there's so much growth and development just from the day you enter to this earth to the day you die, but especially around that time of your life. So like high school sweethearts, but we didn't last much longer after that. So that's when we split and stuff. But yeah, I would definitely say wife, mother, all those titles are amazing and great. I'm proud that I have them. But being just like a genuine, caring person and friend is what I want people to think of me when they think of Ron, for sure.
For you, what do you feel are the things that have made you become a better person? 1, and then 2, the fact that you've been a mother for almost 18 years, like what is that like?
Yeah, it's almost like I don't know anything else. That's for sure. Say the first one again.
What are the things that have made you feel like you've become a better person, more in touch with yourself?
Yeah, definitely my kids have made me feel like I've become a better person because, yeah, those 18 years of motherhood, but like seeing another like little being grow into this world and them being their own individual person. I think Ilani was supposed to come into my life when she was because, and there was nothing wrong. I don't want to say there was like, oh, I wasn't like the best like straight A student, stuff like that. Like I was, you know, an average student, C's, get degrees type of MC, as long as I can play soccer, right? Things like that. But once I had her, I felt this urge and need of responsibility because I was serving someone else. I needed to take care of somebody else. So she definitely made me a lot of who I am today because of that. And it's just huge. And she's been, I guess, like her trait and personality is very responsible little girl. I remember when I came over to Monterey County, she was just starting kindergarten. And it was just me and her. My twin sister was here for a while, but she left, so we didn't have much family out here. We didn't have any family out here. And she'd be the one like waking me up in the morning, like shaking my bed, come on, I gotta catch the bus. And like she'd be like dressed, hair all done, ready to go out the door, backpack ready. Thank God. If I had my son at that time, we would be a hot mess because like I had to literally like drag him out of bed every morning to get him to school. My daughter was so responsible, and that's really just powerful thing about like I had her at the right time. Yeah. So she really shaped and built me for what I am, I think. And that's how I got it. Yeah. And I love being a mom. It's the best.
And it's cool. I feel like, you know, being a teen mom, yeah, it has its ups and downs or whatever at any age. But I feel like now you get to enjoy that time of you still being super young and like having your daughter. Because my mom was a teen mom too, you know, so I have that relationship now with my mom. Was like, yeah, we gotta live through it together, you know. There was times where it's like, I was just a little like me, you know. And so now, and I see that with your guys' relationship. Now it's like you guys get along, you can talk, and it's not this whole big division. It's like you guys still have very, very similar paths at the same time.
Yeah, oh, definitely. It wasn't always easy, but we're at a good spot now.
That's wild because I feel like even being at MILPA, I've come to from almost being like a vicarious watcher of the mothers, right? It's like, dude, like I've come to appreciate what it means to be a mother. I'm not a mother yet, but it's one of those things where it's like, dude, I'm watching y'all, and it's like the fact that you're going about raising, not just having, but raising these children is just amazing to me, and it's just a huge responsibility. It's wild.
Yeah, our kids raise us too, though. You know, like they have this like innocentness of themselves that reminds us, like, you know, we used to be kids too, and that's always so important because it's really interesting how people see like let's say a little boy, and they see like, oh, this sweet innocent boy, and then they see like a man, and they have like this different opinion about them, right? Because they're a man and now they're grown, they should have learned and be this type of like adult being. But like when I look at people, I swear, when I look at people, I look at them like they're like, they used to be a kid, you know, they used to be this person. I know when I was little, I thought like when someone was like 35, they were like a full grown adult, knew what they were supposed to do in life, not ready to go. Like, no, like, I'll be 36 in October.
Ew.
I know. But I don't know everything yet. There's just so much. So I guess like my point is like, I like to see people as like when they were still young and have the innocence of them, because we all still do it, and it's important, it matters. But yeah, it's just crazy.
And it's interesting how there's folks that they still have their child self inside of them, but it's wounded. I mean, some folks are really playful, some folks can be really como caprichosos, where it's just like, damn, dude, like, you need to heal. But I guess it depends on everybody. But one of the things that I think that happens at MILPA is that we're really focused on that healing. And we usually ask people, like, how did you find MILPA? What is that MILPA origin story? Like, how did you come about, right? Like, because we're all part of this crew called MILPA, but it's like, what the hell, like, who, like, how that happened for you?
Yeah, no, definitely. So, like, I heard about MILPA was hiring from one of the board members. I reached out to him. He was actually a former employee of that organization too, and he got pushed out similarly. Can't say that one, but
So he how you say it,
right?
It's fine.
So he hit me up and he's like, "Hey, MILPA's hiring." I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, I've heard about them, but like, I need to learn more. Like, what's the position? It's like, well, it's part-time right now, but give it a try, you never know. And that was like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. And so for a minute I was doing, it was 2020, right? So like there's all the stuff I already mentioned happening. I was already appointed to be on the school board, but that was the year I had actually run for my campaign to get elected. So that was happening too. I was getting married at the time. I was doing the 6-week, 20-pound weight loss challenge because I wanted to buy my dress a size and a half smaller than I was. And I was looking for a job. I just started working at MILPA. I was doing a part-time job at the gym. Also sit on the Monterey Peninsula Housing Coalition, because like obviously all know the housing here is crazy. All that was happening at the same time. So it was a moment, it was an experience. But I love being busy. Like, that's where our calendars come in, right? We have to live on our calendar. I love being busy, and I just need to do that. So it happened for a reason. It happened for me to be where I'm at today, and now I'm at a position and a salary that I never ever imagined I could be at, and promises of growing and promises for all of us to grow. So that's what makes me happy. It's all worth it, you know. And I'm proud about what I stand by. I can do that. I can walk into my office and be proud every day. And that's what really matters.
What? That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Same. Like, all that?
Damn. That be, you know, like, I feel like we talk a lot, you know, especially on Thursdays when you're here and you, like, share your experience about college and everything.
Yeah.
But how was it being here from Monterey County? Why, like, you moved over here at such a young age? And how was it, like, going to CSUMB and then now being a school board member, working at MILPA and just representing, you know?
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, so I had my daughter right before my senior year in high school. Turned into like, I kind of do it all and make sure I can provide her everything she deserves. So like 4.0 students, still call it a student athlete. All that because I had an amazing family system that helped me. Like my parents were great, my sisters were great, my brothers were great. Like everybody around me supported me to have that. So I do definitely acknowledge that because that's so important. I was fortunate enough to have that. But there was still a lot of responsibility I had to make sure that I can do on my own, right? So after high school, I went to my 2-year, like the junior college there in my area. So I'm from Mendocino County, up North Carolina. We say hella a lot. Do you guys say hella? You say hella.
Oh, yeah.
Do you say hella?
I like to say no, but
I know, like, LA is like...
Yeah, they hate it. My cousins from over there, they would talk shit. Like, why do you say hella and heck? And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's in my blood.
So yeah, NorCal for sure. Mendocino College for a couple years. Stayed with that like 4.0 mentality. I was a college athlete. I still played soccer. I had Ronnie with me. But we did all we could do in that moment. So it was time, like I was saying, to grow and go elsewhere. So that's when we moved to CHINGONA Monterey. Shout out to Otters.
Ew.
Freaking love that college. It's amazing. But I started as an English major because I wanted to be an English teacher, and I wanted to do like poetry and creative writing and short stories. And I took a grammar class at CHINGONA, and I was like looking at like the homework, and I was like, ew, I don't like this. Like, I don't want to teach kids how to use commas and punctuations and all that stuff. I want them to be like fluid in their writing, and like the writing doesn't be this whole structured system. It can be however they want it to be, as long as they're like expressing themselves. So I was like, I can't become an English teacher. This isn't what I want to do anymore. So I did switch it up. I think a lot of people do, which is fine. And I learned about human communications, HCOM, and like the variety of what HCOM has to offer, but it's like focused through communication, like from pre-law to like social action, journalism. There's like just a bunch of different like subcategories in that major that I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. So that's why I did that. I had some great teachers. That was really awesome. But yeah, it was tough. It wasn't always easy. I did have a lot of friends and a few boyfriends here and there, you know. It kind of helped. You know.
Ew.
Not ashamed. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Until the right one came, you know, you have to like find your way.
You gotta sift through the clowns, dude. I hear it. I hear Yeah, hell yeah. And like you've been talking about the multiple hats that you wear, right? And and like what are those roles that you carry? You've already talked about them. Like, but how do you balance them? Because you're a wife, you're a mother of 3, you work at MILPA. Yeah. You're a school board member, soccer coach, you know, all these things that you wish to mention, right? But yeah, what's the secret? Tell us the secret.
The secret is no secret. Maybe no sleep, I don't know. But I think just knowing that everything's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. As long as you're trying your hardest and finding ways to make it work, and having the right support around you to help you make it work, it's going to be okay. It's going to work. So I think that's that's the secret, and that was just positive energy, because if you start getting overwhelmed by all these different things, then you're just going to keep like shrinking, and everything's going to feel heavier and heavier. It's always okay to ask for help. It's always okay to say no. It's always okay to take a pause and go outside and get some air, and just know that I remind myself that I'm still healthy, I'm still me, I'm still okay, and I love all the things I'm doing. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it. And I think because in my DNA somehow I like being so busy and trying to do it all, that I'm just used to it, and it's okay. But it makes me who I am.
What do you do in your free time?
Is there free time?
I've been trying to do a lot more of my free time with my husband, and that's really hard because he is a hardworking man. He has like 3 jobs nonstop, and I think we're just in that culture and tradition where like you just have to work because you never know when you can't, you know. And we're at a comfortable spot now where he doesn't have to do that all the time. But I think he feels like he still has to provide, or what else is he able to do? That could be a whole nother episode in itself. It's just marriage. But we're working on that. We're trying to find, like, when we have free time, what can we do together that can help, like, nourish our souls and our hearts and stuff. So try to find time with my husband. Most of that time, because it's so late at night, is like popcorn and like Netflix, the whole Netflix and chill stuff.
Hey.
Yeah, it's literally that. We tried doing like the gym together, but like he has his routine, I'm getting back into mine, and I need my own space for that one. But yeah, for sure, downtime ideally would be just like spending time with the family, catching up on some good TV shows. Definitely love pop culture for sure.
What have you been watching? Movies, shows?
Right now I'm obsessed with Station 19. You guys heard of it?
I feel like I've seen a commercial for it.
Yeah.
So is it firefighters?
Firefighters. Yes.
The radio station.
Firefighters. But like it's a super progressive show. Like I love it. Like I mean, they really push upon like how like there's not that many black firefighters, that many like openly gay firefighters. There's like a portion of the show where like the one female who identifies as queer, she's like the captain, and the fact to get her to become captain, like, so they talk about all of it. And then when COVID hit, I think like they shut down for a little bit, but then they came back with a new season. All of it was about like COVID, Black Lives Matter. Like it's just such a cool show. I love it.
Did they do a collab episode with Grey's Anatomy?
They do.
Okay.
So I've seen like episodes of Grey's Anatomy, but I've never like been watched the whole thing and stuff like that. But like I knew enough to get it, and so some of the characters interlap or are on each other's shows and stuff. That's pretty cool. But I just like the fire department in general. Like that could be like my alternate life is like being a firefighter. Like just be like in shape and work out all the time would be awesome. Right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, firefighters are cool, dude. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool. I mean, that's like a whole thing there, right? Like you're risking your life in a different way, but it's admirable. It's like
Yeah. Yeah, I think just watching that.
You identify as a Latina, and with it being Women's History Month and everything, how was it running and being the first Latina school board member?
Oh man, that was crazy. So
the first.
So for me, so this is kind of a cool story.
Kind of a cool story. What is it about that? It's alright.
Yeah, so I heard about the vacancy. So my seat, the person who was on it was leaving, so they couldn't fill out their entire term. So you need somebody to fill the seat. So I saw on Facebook a friend of mine, Teneri, shout out to Teneri. Our babies are like 2 days apart and were born in the same hospital room 2 days later. Super cool.
What?
Yeah. She tagged me in a post from now one of our county supervisors, Ronnie saying they were looking for somebody to fill that seat. And I was like, they're like, Ronnie, you'd be perfect for this. And Wendy saw that, and Wendy knew about me in my previous work for nonprofits. And I did a lot of restorative justice, did a lot of work within the schools around the county, along with like trainings for teachers and staff, as well as like restorative justice training within some local state prisons and the county jail here too. I did some classes with women and men as well. So she knew about me. She's like, oh, Ronnie, you'd be perfect for this. You really need someone, I guess, in your caliber to do this. So I was like, okay, I'll apply. I submitted the application. So I applied, I submitted it, and then I was invited to do like an interview panel and talk to the board. So I went there, like, got all professional and ready to talk and stuff. I had like my paper, my bio, and I was like talking about how I was a teen mom and like where I'm at now, check me out, all that stuff. And then we had like all like the candidates or applicants had to go into a room and wait to be called so you wouldn't hear what the questions were, So we got like a fair shot or whatever.
Yeah.
So I go into the room and it's like nobody looked like me, like legitly nobody looked like me. And I had like the whole imposter syndrome, like, oh shit, this is gonna be tough. Do I belong? And I am gonna pick me, stuff like that. And I got like really nervous. And there was like a couple like older white guys like scoping each other out and like talking to each other. You could tell like they're, I don't know if like a bulldog, what it was, I don't know. But like asking questions and like, who are you? What do you do? Like, what do you represent type of thing? But like not in that way. I wish they were like that, but they were more like in this
like vulture energy or something. Like, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. So I was like, damn. Got really nervous. But I just kept looking down at my paper and like all the stuff that I wrote, my resume, who I was, and that helped me a lot. So then I was the third person to go. So I like draw numbers. Like it was like that. I like draw numbers. I felt like I was in what's the show with the what's her name? That old school show and everybody had to go to the island, the kids. The movie. What movie? I saw the name of this movie.
Freaking the kids had to go to an island and
they're fighting to the death.
Freaking fighting to the death.
She's like the bird.
Is it a movie or a show?
It's a movie. Well, what's her face?
Is it animated or person?
Oh, Hunger Games.
Hunger
Oh
Games.
yeah.
With the arrow.
Katniss.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's retake that.
We knew all along.
Yes. It felt like I was in the Hunger Games. Oh yeah. So it was my turn to go. I just went up to talk. I got nervous, and I've spoke at city councils before. I've given presentations. So I was like, why am I getting so nervous? I think it's because it's about me. So that's what made me nervous. So I put my paper down, like took a breath, and I just talked. And that helped a lot. I think I answered the questions really good. Hopefully, I don't know. I guess so. But at the end of it, they did a vote, and I got the unanimous vote. I got like selected to be on the board, and I was so excited. I didn't think I was gonna get it, so that was really special. And I remember just going into my car and crying. And I just started crying, and then I called my husband. I called my husband first, and then I called my mom, and I was like, "Oh, let's go out. Like, I'll take you to dinner, and we can talk about it and celebrate." So we did that, and then like I think about, and this is kind of silly and a little embarrassing, but like a week later, I met up with the school board president to talk about like our roles and responsibilities, what I'm like basically getting into, and he said like this seat actually ends this year. You have to run for re-election. So I didn't say this to him, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, wait, this is an elected official position? I had no idea. I was like that out of the box. And at first I kind of felt mad at myself, like, how do you not know this, Ronnie? You should know these things. But they don't tell our community these things, you know? People just like us don't know about it. So that's why I didn't know it was an elected official position. So they're like, yeah, get ready to run your campaign in a few months. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And I did, and I won, and yeah, I guess that's kind of a cool story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Because it's wild, because I even did an internship, that's how I found out about MILPA, because I did it with Destiny Villa. And so, but even through that internship of 6 months, they talked about how a lot of the times, especially with women and Latina women, they have to be asked. Like the way that you were tagged in that post, hey Ronnie, you should do it. They have to be told several times, hey, you should do it, you should do it, you should do it, because sometimes we don't think that we can do it, right? And so that just kind of proves that that space, that like a lot of times we don't think that we belong in certain spaces, when a lot, like if we were to be there, we would represent our community in a really good way.
Yeah.
At least that's the hope, right?
Yeah.
Like when people go in there and look like us and whatnot. So
And it's the truth,
It's like-
especially for that district. 59% identify as, Latino. So it was just great to be like the first Latina to serve.
And you have even talked about how sometimes you bring in certain perspectives that other people are surprised about, or they can't wrap their heads around it, or they can't understand, right? Because you see it, you understand it, especially around maybe immigration or around other certain issues that the population that you represent, it comes up for them, right? And so when you're sitting there in these meetings wanting to say, hey, I'm offering this perspective, sometimes folks don't know what to do with it, because they're like, shit, like I've never heard that before in my life, or whatever.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point to bring up too. And I feel very fortunate. I've seen like school board meetings and stuff, and like most of like the board members are either really combative at each other, not on the same page, or like don't want to try to at least understand each other's point of views, or like just like nonchalant, just to get through the meeting type of boards I've seen out there. I definitely feel fortunate that our board actually has individuals that kind of like, I don't say see on the same page, but we respect each other enough to know like, hey, this is how, this is what's happening, like let's hear about it, let's talk about it, but in a good way. So I definitely feel happy to have that. But still, like you said, I still bring this perspective, and the response is usually like, wow, I didn't even think about that, because they're not in that type of shoes and experience to even think that way. A really good example, so my son goes to the dual language academy at the Monterey Peninsula. It's a public school through our district. The cool thing about that school is that, and I think it's the only school on the peninsula that teaches kids Spanish. Like you can graduate by 8th grade and be like fully bilingual. So like you would think like more people would want to sign their kids up for that, because it's just an important resource to have. So my son's in that school. We have a lot of school sites along the peninsula. That particular location, though, it is located on federal grounds for military. So like there's a lot of military families there. A lot of those military families actually don't go to that school, though. Most of the kids who go to that school are from Seaside, which isn't too far away. I guess Fort Ord and Seaside are pretty close to an extent. But the fact that it's on federal grounds means that if someone crosses onto federal grounds, it's basically ran by like federal police or military police or people that live there. So our community does have a lot of undocumented individuals. Like Monterey County per capita is like the highest county for immigration of undocumented people, and we're not even a border town. Our county is like that. So there could be a lot of students and families that have someone that could technically be undocumented. So like, let's say you get pulled over, there's a stoplight there, so like that stoplight when you turn right, normally you stop at the stoplight you can turn right, but that one you can't. So if someone turns right there, like 9 out of 10 times you get like pulled over, like, hey, you can't turn on that light, license registration. But not everybody has license registration, right? So like that's just fear of like, hey, there could be a potential that someone can get like deported just to taking their kids to school. Can we change that? And then I think that was kind of like people like, oh, we didn't think of that. Yes, let's do that. And I'm happy they were like, yes, let's do that, versus like, it's fine, or like trying to be combative about it.
Yeah.
Fortunate enough, they're like, yes, let's do that. So they have one more year there, and next year they'll be closer to Seaside and being on a just public space, and that makes me happy.
That's good. That's super good.
Yeah.
And it's cool because I know the other day you also went to go read to the like younger students. How was that?
Read Across America. It was fun. Like, I loved it. I went to my son's class, and he was really like, I don't think he was surprised. I did tell him I was coming. So he was really happy to see me. He's like, that's my mom, that's my mom. All that attitude. And the kids were really cute too, like asking me all these questions. But I took like the books, little libros. So I took those. I took 4 of them. One was on Pelé, Frida, Dolores Huerta was my favorite one because that one has more like storytelling, and Cuauhtemoc, which is more of shapes, but it was still really fun to read with them, and they're bilingual books. So like I would read one line, whether it was in English or Spanish, and I'd read the second line translating it. So I got to read with them like that. So it was super dope. I loved it. But yeah, the kids are kind of like what I'm all about.
That's so cool because I remember when I was in elementary school, like our school board members didn't look like us, and they didn't really come out to visit us or whatever it was. But the yard duties, it was like Miss Lopez, Miss Laura, and it was like that's who we gravitated toward. Just like, oh, Miss Maria, can you help me tie my shoes? Like, we were little kids, so it's so cool that you actually get to go in there and like read to them and hang out with them. And they're like, hey, like it's Miss Miramontes, like, or I don't know if that's what they call you, but like just them even associating and like seeing a school board member come through or someone from MILPA come through and like that looks like you. And is representing that, and because it's like it means so much, you don't really think about it, but it's just like I didn't have like a teacher that looked like me up until I was in high school and it was my Spanish teacher, and it was just kind of like
my Spanish teacher was from Spain.
So,
he was like teaching about the vosotros, the beans and all that. But it's such a good point.
So it's cool, like so like props to you, like thank you for going out there and like. We'll put the pictures up all so y'all can see like what doing her thing. But it was cool. It was cool to see the little kids being super excited to be there with you and for you to represent in that way. Yes.
I know. I'm gonna definitely get a copy of all the books they're brought, just so their classroom can at least have it, because like they really like the books a lot. It was awesome. So good.
It's important for the kids to have that, to someone to look up to, right? Because sometimes even at home they may not have people that they can go to that they feel safe with or whatever it might be. So it's key, right? And whether you had role models as a child or as an adult, I mean, hopefully as an adult you do, like as a child, however, right? Like we're thinking about how it's Women's History Month and really similar to like Black History Month, it's not, in my eyes, it's not confined to a month, right? It's more like we should be celebrating all throughout the year, right? We're really thinking about these folks that have made a huge difference in our lives. And so for you, like who are some of the mujeres that have inspired your life and your career?
Yeah. For sure my mom. Like I have to like shout out to my mom. She's been always having my back. She's that one person that's like, if you want something, even if it's mine, let me give it to you. She's like, oh mom, I like your necklace. Oh here, you can have it. I'm like, no, I just wanted to say I like your necklace. So definitely my mom. And then 2 other people that, especially in college, I really, really like admire and have their posters and their books and all that kind of stuff. Like, would definitely be Frida Kahlo, and then Maya Angelou. So like just her writing and stuff. And I think it'd be super badass to see like if that was ever to happen, I guess to imagine and fantasize them doing a collaboration together. So like imagine like a portrait of Frida based off of like the words of Maya Angelou. That would be like so cool. Like all like eyebrows and just shit like that. So for sure those two individuals, and my mama would be my people.
That's so dope.
That's
so dope.
dude. And we were actually talking about Frida, how like she's such a badass in terms of she was way ahead of her time, right? Like just even being the person that she was, and the fact that she had, you know, nowadays we're so mindful of like women are not supposed to do this or that or blah blah blah, but she's like she's rocking the unibrow and the mustache and like not giving a fuck, and you know, so I think that's really tight that that's one of your folks, right, that you chose, because we need more women like that, right? Especially because we're having this conversation about how do we reclaim our power as mujeres, as humans, right? Not even just like limiting to mujeres, but as people, right? Like a lot of us don't really have a relationship maybe with that power because we think that we don't deserve it or we didn't grow up having it or whatever. So how has that changed over time for you in terms of from when you were potentially a teenager or younger to now? Like have you seen that transition of shoot, I've grown, like I'm shedding layers and I'm, you know, feeling more myself and I'm really able to step into these spaces and really command power in the way that you need to.
Yeah, I think exactly the way you painted it is a really good picture of how I'm trying to like create it for my life. So I know when I was younger, it was really hard to be noticed and seen, especially by my teachers and you know those out in the community. Me and my sister did a lot of travel soccer and we were good, but we didn't actually get to be like uplifted and like cherished as I noticed some of the other travel kids for like just rich families or whatever. So it allowed me to create a path for myself, especially now, to like do that whole like self-identifying of who I am and how strong I am and how that needs to be heard, and it's okay for it to be heard. A lot of times I can find myself like, oh no, like I don't need to talk about Ronnie. But it's important sometimes to talk about Ronnie and like share like what I do, and not for me, but for other people to hear it, for other kids to hear it, so they can be like, I can do that too, or I can do that, and I'm be like, yes, you could easily do this and more, you know. So like something like that would be the way that I can create that power for myself and others.
Yeah, it's importante tener eso, honestly, because yeah, dude, it can be easy to just kind of, I don't know, I remember being 9 and looking in the mirror and I'm like, I look like everybody else in the world. Like I didn't have that understanding of like, oh, I'm an individual and I have my own personality and all these things. Like we just kind of get silenced in different ways, especially when we're children, right? And that we kind of continue moving forward and in that way until we have moments to release, right? And yeah, but that's good that you're having that space for yourself to be able to get in touch continually. So it's cool.
Thank you.
And you're already 35 in terms of like, you know, you're a full grown adult in your eyes, right? So you got it all figured out now.
That's so cool. That's
Very
so cool.
close. Yeah, thanks you guys.
Good stuff. No. So now I just have like hella perspectives. Like, oh, you want to go? Look at you. So now it's so. But yeah.
It's important for us to realize that too.
Yeah. But with that, you know, MILPA is continuing the Our Budget 831 campaign, where we encourage the community to get involved with the budget and decisions in their cities and at the Monterey County level. So what is your take on the budget from the school board perspective?
Yeah, so unfortunately when it comes to the county budget, in regards to the school and the districts, we're not funded through the county, we're funded through the state. So Governor Newsom just put out his draft state proposal budget in regards to school funding. And that's been, for us as board members, we kind of get that sent to us at least 3 times before the final budget gets secured, because they make little changes and stuff like that. So it's really important when we receive those reports, because that allows us as school board members and like the focus on school stuff to best plan how budgets are used and implemented. There is the local control accountability plan, which is like something that a lot of districts do it, but for us in particular, we really want to engage the civic engagement through the community and let them know like, hey, we have these X amount of dollars to be able to do this funding. How would you like to see it? Like, what are your top priorities? Because we want to be able to implement that. And it sucks though, because like with COVID and the cost of living here in California, families are getting pushed out and leaving. And then we do the state does most of like the giving of funding. and budgets based on the average daily attendance. So like just how average kids come to school every day, which is also very, very hard to do, will determine how much money we get per kid. So just like that whole system to me personally needs a big, big change, because like education really does need to be put first, because that's how we're going to have our communities grow, our communities be enriched and flourish, and safety and all that stuff too. But there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it, and I'm happy to break it down for you guys.
Yeah, for you being a resident of Monterey County, if it were up to you, what would be the things like projects that you would want to have prioritized in terms of where the budget would go?
Yeah, so for me, I'm a huge advocate on youth. So definitely having the youth have what they need to allow them to grow into, like we said, young adults and these individuals that affect and impact all of us as a community is huge. So after school programs I think are very vital and essential. We need to be able to have parks and fields and programs to allow students to do all those things and grow and to feel safe. I'd love to see more like gardens and soccer fields out here in our community, because that's like the number one asked sport for Monterey County is soccer. And unfortunately on the Peninsula, it's actually really hard to find a field to play on, like a safe, suitable field to play on. You'd have to like come out to Salinas or Watsonville, Santa Cruz. I used to like commute all the way up to Santa Cruz sometimes just to play soccer on Sundays. And there's a lot of people in the Peninsula that want more fields. So things like that, like we need to meet our community where it's at, especially our youth, and like having them tell us what they want. So things, yeah, for sure that. And being innovative about it too, finding ways to do all those things in like new forms. So you can have a field to play soccer, and right next door, right on that field, it could be like a little garden or something like that. So we just need to be creative and find how to make this money work.
Yeah, definitely thank you for all the work that you do at the different roles that you have, right? Like you have a lot going on, but still you try to keep moving forward and make it happen for the people, right? And really listening. I think that's the really key thing, is listening to the youth. A lot of people don't do that. Like I think that folks look down maybe on young people and think, oh, you don't know what you want or whatever it might be, right? Like that stigma that towards young people, but they're really freaking smart. Like, I mean, you're probably can attest to that. Like seeing your daughter, like she's she's a youth, right? And just being able to see her growth and whatnot. But just thank you for everything that you do. And
thank you. That's important too. Like I like how you said that. Like so many people think the youth don't know like what they're doing, what they want, or they're so young they just don't know. And I think it's the way we like communicate with people too. It's so easy to use like negative connotations and words like no, don't, can't, instead of like yes, can, things of that sort. Because of course I obviously know as a parent, like my daughter's a teenager, she has a lot of room to grow, and there's gonna be so many changes in your lives. So instead of me telling like, hey, you're too young, you don't get it, I tell her like, this is where you're at now, and there's so much more to come. So just know that there's so much more to come. Like things change. I remember when I was in high school, I felt like every year was different, and that's going to continue when you go into college. So you're like, every year is going to be a little different. You're going to meet new people. Like there's always changes. So don't just set yourself into one space, or one like settlement or something like that. Take advantage of whatever you can and grow from it, for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So with that, do you have any advice for other Black, Indigenous mujeres of color? And definitely don't limit it only to that, but we all mujeres really. However you want to take that question, feel free to take it.
Yeah, definitely. I want to just encourage women for that whole imposter syndrome that I spoke about. Like whenever you're like feeling that situation or feeling that way, like just take a breath. Know you're in a good spot. If you're able to, go outside because nature is so important. Like feel the ground, feel the dirt. Drink some water. If you have water, like definitely water. Let that sun hit you and like realize like all that energy you just like put yourself in, all those elements you just like were able to feel and grasp. That's like powerful. Take that, soak it all up, and know that you're just a badass. You're a badass. You got this. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Go back inside and rock it. And if not, that's okay too. You can call me and I'll talk to you about it. Shoot, my phone number's out there. Like they're like when I was on the board, like, oh, what number do you have? I'm like, this is the only one I have, so.
Do you get random people calling you?
Yeah.
So with that, we'll leave her email.
No, hey, seriously though, like another shout out to like the young women, especially like high school students and those like venturing into college. If you ever need like even like a letter of recommendation, some type of like space to let someone know, because I feel like, okay, I'm in this platform, or I'm in this position that does give me some ability to help others. I always want to encourage that to the youth, especially the young girls. Like, reach out to me if you need something like that. I totally got you. I'm down for that.
Ooh, master's program, Ronnie.
I might take it with you. You know, I need my master's too.
Hell yeah! Imagine, that'd be all crazy.
That'd be great.
That's important, honestly. Yeah. Good one. Yeah, that's tight. Cool.
Wow, that's amazing.
So cool. So finally, do you have a budget campaign call to action?
Oh yes. So basically, what I kind of said earlier, but I want people to really speak upon, especially the youth, come out to those budgets and talk about what you need. So if you need whatever you need to do for like after school programs, things that are going to help you, whether it's art, music, education, something that makes you feel safe, mental health is huge. All that matters, and it's really important. We need to make that call to action, and yeah, I think just that.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. Excited to have you on the show.
Are you getting this?
You can put the little disco light.
She's feeling herself. Drop the little disco ball.
Yeah.
We will. Any final words that you would like to share with the crew?
I just definitely wanted to thank my Bully for allowing me to do this. It's really nice. I hope eventually all of us get this chance to like be highlighted and just boost it up and all that like good glitter. We totally deserve it. So just thank you. I appreciate it. You know, it's really nice. So you two are awesome. Oh, and I have a gift. I have a gift for you guys. I do have a gift. I almost forgot. So you guys get to decide though which ones you want.
Oh. You open it
Fight
for
to the
us.
death.
I know, like, this is a favorite brand for our crew. So, like, and all the stuff you guys are doing, like, having to plan and write things and getting these shows in order. So they're just, like, cute little notebooks.
Oh, that's so cute.
Right? So you guys can totally pick the ones you want. I kind of, like, have a guess of who.
One.
That was my guess. That was my guess. So totally whichever ones you guys want.
Brittany can take the back one off.
Yeah.
Ask the people downstairs. I'm like, I bet you Kaylin's gonna take this one.
Oh,
Yeah. You missed out for you, but this is for you too.
No, thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on the show. You know, it's always super cool to highlight our folks, but especially all our women, being able to, and especially during Mujeres History Month, you know, no matter what time of the year we would have highlighted y'all, it would have been super powerful. But it's super cool to be able to highlight y'all at such a specific time when it's like so many powerful mujeres are being highlighted.
Yeah.
So appreciate you for taking that time out of your day. And you know, you're a busy person. You're a super busy person. So being able to be here with us in space, you know, and just for cultivating that with us. So we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Movement building, meet bar, cultivated change makers. Yeah, we're that squad. Here we go.